Wave weather now. I'm Wave Meteorologist Ryan Hoke here with an update on some extremely cold air coming into our area as we go throughout tonight. But folks, here's the deal. We've got the light at the end of the tunnel. This is pretty much it for some time once we get through an early Sunday morning temperature likely below zero in many areas. All right, part of the reason why we're going to see these temperatures that will be so very cold tonight is because of the clear sky that we have out there right now. Light winds, clear sky, all of that equals a setup that can get us below the actual guidance from some of the computer data here on temperatures, and all of that coupled with a snow cover that we have right now. Hey, by the way, if you have a comment, a question, a suggestion, you can type that in to any of the social media live streams that you're on right now, whether that be YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. And of course, if you're watching on the Wave Weather Now live stream or the Wave Now stream on one of our apps, you can go to our Facebook page or our Twitter, and you can type your question in there if you want to see it live pop up on the screen here. Otherwise, I'll just read them to you there if you're on those screens and those streams. Hello to Kay Taylor. She says, hello to you this evening. Let's go through what we expect here as we go throughout the next 24 hours and then the next 10 days, shall we? Current wind chill reading here in Louisville is around 9 degrees above zero. Notice a lot of us in those single-digit readings for now. You know, I'll tell you what, today was not all that horrible. Once we got to the afternoon with the sun, yes, it was still a little breezy. Yes, it was very cold. But compared to this morning, it was a cakewalk, right? Unfortunately, tonight looks worse, and not so much because of the wind chill, though we do have a wind chill advisory in effect for 27 out of our 30 counties here. It's more so the raw air temperature that's going to be the thing that makes tomorrow morning miserable. Whereas this morning, it was the wind chill that made it really bad here. So notice our forecast takes us down to 2 degrees below zero early tomorrow morning. That's here in Louisville. That's an actual air temperature. Are you kidding me here? This is the deal. This is the coldest we've seen since December 2022 when we saw 5 degrees below zero here in Louisville. That was just before Christmas. I remember it very well. Had all these pipe bursts and infrastructure issues here. There is the possibility of some of that. Just depends on how cold we get here because we're going to go from below zero readings to the 40s within about a 24-hour span here. That's a lot of stress on things like metal that can expand and contract a lot. Metal, of course, makes up our water pipes, our sewer mains, our water mains. So we have to watch this very carefully for any sort of infrastructural issues around here. We've got Janet on the horn with us here. Hello from Hikes Point, she says. Wyatt is on the line with us. Hello, Wyatt. I know you. You say hello as well. Wyatt's a big fan of ours. James says, how does Monday look? And Monday at this point looks a lot better. All right. Hello, Christy Slater. She says she's from Louisville, Kentucky. Excuse me, getting over this cold. I've had this thing for like a week now. Uncle, I'm over it. I'm ready for it to be done. Brandon says, good evening. When do we have another meteorologist at Wave? And we have one starting literally this upcoming week here. The announcement's already been made, so I'm not breaking any news to you here. But Carson Meredith, who's a native of the Middletown area, he went to Male High School, is our newest meteorologist. He's a Western Kentucky University grad, so we'll have 2 of those back on staff again, 2 WKU grads, Brian Good being the other one here. And, it's another Louisville guy working at Wave. So we're so proud to have such a locally focused team here. Of course, I grew up here in Louisville. I grew up from Worthington Hills down to Fern Creek, lived in a few different places within Jefferson County here, went to Manual High School. You get the idea here. So many of us grew up with Wave and love this station. And we've got another meteorologist who's going to fit right in those shoes. So that's so awesome. And Carson, you'll get to meet him here over the next couple of weeks. We'll share with you more details about the timing of that for when he starts on his weekend shift, starting here a little sooner than later. Shauna says hello from Jeffersonville. Hello from Linden to Michelle. Hi from Bloomington, Indiana. Hello, Adam. You're up just out of our viewing area there near IU. Glad to hear from you this afternoon. Oh, Cheryl, her weather station got down to 6 degrees below zero in Comiskey this morning. Yeah, it all depended on how deep your snow cover was, if you're like in a sheltered location, like a valley, your exact elevation, as to how cold you got this morning. This morning in Louisville, we got to 3 degrees. And once we hit that 3-degree mark, that was kind of the sign that we are definitely in a ripe situation to go below zero for tonight with the clearer sky, the snow cover, and the slackening of the wind there. Let's see here. We've got David saying, Very good. Hello to you. Joni says, hello, Ryan. Thanks for the update, says Joe. Will there be a flood in Kentuckiana next Thursday, asks Darren. There may be some flooding. I don't think it'll be super major or anything like that. We'll discuss rainfall totals here coming up in just a second. Joni says hello from Willisburg. Daniel says Campbellsville is where he's from. And finally, Jan says hello from Lebanon Junction, southern Bullitt County. One of my favorite places. I drove through there last weekend. All right, you'll notice that on the radar this afternoon, things are pretty quiet around here. It's actually this evening. It's 6:46 p.m. The time got away from me. It's no longer the afternoon, is it? This is a satellite image, visible satellite image from earlier today. And this shows us the actual snow on the ground. These white splotches that you see are snow. The visible satellite is kind of like just a regular camera in space. It's black and white, but you get the idea. It can see all the snow on the ground, and you can kind of see the intricacies of like the river valleys that are carved out by the snow, and you can see these little creeks and streams and valleys and geographic features. I love that. Weather satellite, of course, was invented in the 60s, got big in the 70s, and it's improved so much since then that we can pick out just incredible little things on it. And one of my favorite tools to use here. Let's zoom things out. So here's the reason why we're going to warm up. Some good news, right? Well, right now we've got high pressure out to our west that's channeling in air from the north and west. Notice our wind is currently out of the west up here in the banner at 6 miles per hour. So west, northwest, you get the idea. Once this area of high pressure moves to our east tomorrow, and especially Monday, we will see the air coming out of the south and especially the southeast as we go through time here. That will return us to a milder pattern, and that will be with us for quite some time. You'll see it in the 10-day here coming up here in just a short time. Let's get this snow out of here, right? You know, I think a lot of folks were happy to see a somewhat decent snowfall. We're actually getting close to average when it comes to snowfall here in Louisville for a season. I think about 5 inches is what we would typically have right now. We've had about 4 something, so getting kind of close, right? And we've been so below average for so long, it's nice to be close to normal at least here. But the snow can sometimes overstay. It's welcome, especially for folks who are sick of trying to deal with it in their driveways and side streets here. Tomorrow, we will see those side roads and driveways improve. Monday, only large piles will remain because we'll be in the 40s by the afternoon. But by Tuesday, as that warmth really moves in and we start to see the rain crank up, this snow should be pretty much out of here. So it will be pretty quick to get rid of the snow once we see those temperatures go up like that. Anna is asking, will there be any more ice? Hello from Highview. I do not think so. The ice that's hanging from your gutters right now is about the extent of the ice that we will likely see here for about the next 10 days. This is not done for the winter, by the way. Remember, February and March are still winter months. But I think for January, this is going to wrap things up, winter weather for just this month alone. Olivia says, will the roads be okay in the morning? Yeah, the roads tomorrow morning will be no different than they are now. It's just the temperature that's going to be a problem here. Christopher Lee Terry says 11 degrees in French Lick. That's cold. Adam says, need this January thaw, could not get warm today. You know, the worst thing is when you just can't get warm. Like if your furnace is on the fritz. I actually came home to that last weekend after vacation. That was like the worst thing ever. Couldn't get the house above like 60 degrees. Of course, furnace company came out and fixed it. Wasn't a big deal, just clogged condensate trap there. But you get the idea. It's a huge infrastructural issue, you know, and safe space heater use and safe heated blanket use is super crucial in a situation like this. Do not plug your space heaters or heated blankets into those long power strips. Plug them directly into the wall socket, all right? Those power strips are only designed for like low voltage or low wattage and low amperage electronics, not for those big space heaters that can heat a room, all right? So be very careful with space heaters. Leave them attended, not unattended. So with the warmth coming next week and with highs in the 50s getting close to 60 degrees, we have to pay a price, and that is rain, right? We get multiple rounds of rain in here next week. And there's something I do want to call your attention to. A little bit of wintry precip, a little bit of snow or wintry mix is possible closer to Seymour, Indiana, Tuesday morning, just because temperatures will be hovering near freezing as this rain moves in. I don't think this will be a big deal within our counties, but it's something I want to at least verbally mention here. Get that in your head. It would be very brief. It would be Tuesday morning. it'll be out of here in a jiffy as the warm air overrides everything. And we'll just be plain rain here for the rest of next week. All right. Wednesday, you see another round of rain moving through. Thursday, this area of low pressure moving in from the south finally starts to come at us here. And that will provide some of the heaviest of the rain. You see some thunderstorms even in Tennessee possible with this. Are we expecting severe weather here? No, not right now. I don't see the ingredients for that just yet. It's something we'll keep an eye on, though. It would be remarkable to go from, below zero to severe weather in just a few days' time, but we've done stuff like that before. We just want to make sure that this isn't one of those scenarios. I don't think it will be, though. Michelle says it was 0 early this morning on my patio. And then Mikkel, I should say, Earl says, what about ice Monday afternoon, Lawrence County? I don't think we're going to get any ice Monday afternoon up there. It's the rainfall that's going to be the issue next week here. We're talking about 2+ inches of rain. You see on our scale, you can always look at these legends, by the way, at the top of the screen. That's called a legend if you didn't know that. Right there, you can see where I've highlighted there with my yellow pencil. The 2-inch+ yellow is across most of our viewing area here on the European model as we head throughout that next week's rainfall total. So that's between about Tuesday and Friday here. That would be enough to cause some minor hydrological issues. We're talking like high creeks, high streams. River levels would go up a little bit, but nothing crazy, all right? The snow melt to our north and east may propel some of that. We'll keep an eye on that, but so far so good. And things like your sump pump may run a little bit more than usual here, but I'm not expecting like wholesale giant flooding just yet. We're still a little too early in this process to diagnose that with any sort of fantastic accuracy, but you get the idea here. Joe says this is fantastic news for the drought. Yes, it is. Some of our areas, just a little sliver of southern Jefferson County and northern Bullitt right now is out of a drought completely. I do think that area of no drought will expand as we see this kind of setup take hold. And if it's wet like this for the rest of the winter, we'll see if it is, that would be fantastic. Then we could go into spring with a good soil moisture, a good groundwater. It'd be really pretty. And I think everybody can get behind that. Even you snow lovers like a good spring around here, I think. At least I think so. Everybody's a little different. Let's see. Sean is asking, are there going to be breaks in this rain or is it a 24/7 deal? No 24/7 on this rain. There will be some breaks here. In fact, let's go back to Futurecast here, and you'll be able to identify some of these breaks here. Notice like Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, a break. We'll get another break probably Thursday. Well, really after Thursday morning, we would see the rain end by Friday. So it's really a Tuesday through Thursday night thing, all right, with some little breaks in there. So it's not like a constant fire hose of rain or anything like that, the way it looks right now. I know that it can sometimes look a little scary on the 10-day when you see these large rain chances just kind of backed up to one another like that. It looks like there's no break, but the final details of that are typically a little more nuanced, and they do include some breaks in there, all right? Let's see. Adam says, I can't remember the last time here in Indiana we were not in a drought. It's been a while. Yeah, we've been in what I call a drought-y pattern as of late here. Glenda says, I absolutely hate cold weather, so I'm looking forward to the warmer weather. That's a great launching point for what I'm about to talk about here is temperatures. Here's something that'll warm you up. A thought. The Louisville Boat, RV, and Sports Show is at the Expo Center next week. I know already, right? Wednesday through Sunday is the timing on that, and this is great because it kind of just encapsulates the warm period of our forecast here. Look at that Thursday high temperature of 56 degrees. There's some data that tries to get us close to 60 degrees during that time as we go through that Thursday there, especially in southern Kentucky. It depends on the rain, depends on if we can get a dry slot in that rain to possibly be a thing as we go through that time there. And once that, of course, becomes a little clearer, we'll be able to share with you a bit more information about what we were expecting in terms of the temperature here. But just kind of that rough idea right now is to get that temperature up into the mid to upper 50s, possibly getting close to 60 degrees around here. That's the Louisville Boat, Sport, and RV Show. Of course, the highest temperature would be that 56 degrees there on Thursday. Look at Atlanta, near 70 degrees. It's this big ridge of high pressure that's going to try to get established and fire hose us with rain. And the reason for the rain is because there would be like an area of low pressure out to our west where you see it's a little colder there. And that just sends these disturbances up in our direction. I cannot draw to save my life today. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, you see the arrow there? That's where we're getting that Gulf moisture, that Gulf warmth from with that area of low pressure out to our west because air flows clock or counterclockwise around an area of low pressure. We call that cyclonic in weather, by the way. And that's why we're going to see that warmth and, of course, that rain. Looking at the next 8 to 14 days, so this kind of goes past our 10-day here. Notice that the dry pattern tries to set up again over the eastern half of the nation. So this wet pattern next week is sort of a temporary deal. We'll see if it comes back. Right now, it looks like things are going to remain somewhat near average as we head throughout the end of the period of our 10-day earliest alert, which I'm going to share with you on the screen here. Yeah, that's the 40s that return after the rain. There is a chance for rain once again, by the way, on Saturday of this upcoming weekend. The European model does not have that very much at all, but the GFS does. So there's kind of iffiness on that Saturday rain chance. That's a week from today that we're talking about there. That's why that rain chance is down to 40%. We'll see if that comes back up on the European model there, but I didn't want to overplay that at this point, given some of the uncertainty given that. But after that point, I think the pattern does get a lot more dry, at least for a short time. We'll see how long that lasts. And those temperatures will be somewhat close to normal for this time of year. We're typically in the lower 40s with overnight lows in the 20s and 30s. And that's the standard fare that we'll see probably at the end of next weekend into that next week. But these rain chances are highest this coming week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and the early part of our Thursday. Let's get to a few more comments here before we wrap this up. This is going to be a short one because weather is much quieter, minus, of course, the below zero temperatures tomorrow morning. But overall, we do have a quiet couple of days coming our way here. Adam says, LOL, the squirrel skiing. Yes, that's I think that's like Zippy the squirrel. The squirrel has a name at the Boat Sport and RV show, and he jet skis around, or he water skis, I should say, behind a remote control boat. It's kind of cute. Let's see here. Callie says, hello, stay safe and warm, everybody. Yes, we want everybody to stay safe. Hope we stay warm for a bit, says Joni. I hope so too, but it looks like we'll at least get closer back to normal. So that temperature goes down a bit by the end of next week, kind of behind all of this rain here. What are the chances for another Arctic blast? We'll have to see. It's going to take the atmosphere a while to reload and get back into a pattern like this. I think February we'll at least see some cold air. Brian Good sent out one of his long-range forecast discussions to our weather staff this morning, and he was talking about how this particular round of cold air will likely be the coldest of the winter, and that next round that would be possible when the pattern reloads, when the polar vortex, a piece of it, clips off and tries to visit us again in February. If that happens, it wouldn't be quite as extreme as this. This has, by the way, been building for quite some time. You may remember, if you've been watching on TV around Christmas time, I was talking about a sudden stratospheric warming event that was getting ready to happen around New Year's. That happened around New Year's, and that sent that cold air down into the mid-latitudes. And it takes about 2 weeks for that whole process to complete. And guess what? It is just kind of 2.5 weeks into, almost 3 weeks into January here, and we're talking about this extreme Arctic blast. So that all lined up pretty well. It's usually 2 to 3 weeks after it happened around a new year. Boom, we got smacked with it. That's why we head below zero tomorrow morning. So we're not seeing that reloading just yet, but I need to look at some more data before I give that to you definitively. Brandon says it was below zero past this morning already. It just depends on where you were. Here in Louisville, we were 3 degrees above zero. The wind chills were well below zero, and some areas outside the city were below zero. But the deal is, for the urban heat island of Louisville to get below zero, that's a big deal. That happens like once every other winter-ish, if you look back at the records here. So it's not like it's not normal, but it's also something that doesn't happen often, like just once every other year. All right. Shonda says, thank you. You are appreciated. Thank you, Shonda, for being such a loyal viewer. Let's see. Kay says, thank you, Ryan, and all you wonderful wave weather folks. Thanks to you. Derek says, will there be a minor flood in Kentuckiana next Wednesday? Well, we'll see. We were just talking about that 2-inch plus rainfall. Would it be enough to cause major flooding? I don't think so at this juncture. We will keep an eye on that. It looks like more of a drought helper, which I think would be a good thing. I think we could use some of that. We just don't need too much all at once. And of course, we'll have to monitor how the snowmelt, especially hitting the Ohio River aquifer to our north and east, how that's going to affect our river levels here. Still some time to resolve that as we go through time. All right, guys, we're coming up on 7 o'clock here. I'm going to wrap this thing up because I think I have talked my head off enough here for the last 20 minutes or so. Thank you all for viewing this afternoon and this evening here. We're going to be back on Wave News at 11 tonight before a new episode of Saturday Night Live. We're always live here on the Wave Weather Now live stream, which you can find on the Wave Now app app for your smart TV, the Wave weather app for your phone, or wave3.com/livestream. And then you just click on that Wave Weather Now secondary live stream there. So we've always got the weather on for you 24/7. We'll do these live updates, of course, as necessary. And we try to do these at least once or twice a day to keep you all up to speed. And of course, we simulcast these on social media to get your comments, questions, concerns, complaints, whatever it is. Thank you so much this evening, everybody. Please stay safe out there. And of course, from us, all of us here at the Wave Storm Tracking Team, have a fantastic evening. Good night.